Hey there, and welcome to another Get Digital Support webinar. Today we're talking about cyber savvy charities, safeguarding your online properties. Um, just a bit of a background on this one. I came up with this idea for a webinar specifically for charities because I kept running into the same issues over and over again, which was charities that were losing access to critical properties, assets like their Facebook pages, their Instagram accounts, and these were not malicious attacks. It was all based on user error, and it was the same consistent problems over and over again. So I wanted to create a webinar for charities to avoid these issues, these pitfalls, and maintain those properties and delegate access in a safe and appropriate way, so that you don't lose those properties, and you protect yourself from losing these either to user error and also to malicious attacks. So, because we are going to talk a little bit about internet security, because that's a part of passwords and sharing logins and that kind of thing. We can't talk about those without talking about safe security protocols. But for the most part, we're talking about managing these profiles in a way that will allow you to keep them for a long period of time. But before we get into that, just a quick reminder about Get Digital Support, or an intro if you haven't met with us before or heard about us, or attended one of our webinars. We've got loads of webinars ongoing. We've got all of our past webinars are recorded, like this one, and up on our website at getdigitalsupport.ca. Plus, you can sign up for a free digital audit. Sign up for a free account, and you will receive a digital audit if you just respond to the email that you get from that. But it's essentially a hands-on, look at your digital properties, your website, your social media accounts. We look at everything and give you a comprehensive report that gives you feedback and action items that you can implement today in order to start improving your digital presence. So it's a great place to start, and I highly recommend it because, again, it's free. So why not check that out? And Get Digital Support, it's important to note, is part of the BFresh marketing group. So I started BFresh Media in 2015, and BFresh Media is our video production and content creation brand. We launched Get Digital Support in 2022. That is more of a consulting agency with all of our free resources, guides, and webinars to just help empower business owners to be digital marketing all-stars. And finally, 20 Sharp is our latest launch, being a web design, development, and ad agency. It's really a full spectrum of digital marketing support and content creation, advertising, whatever you need. We have basically packages that will give a real overarching full spectrum coverage of your digital marketing. And so we're happy to talk to you about that. If you have any questions, do reach out to us if you need help in any of those different areas. So with that out of the way, let's get to our agenda for today, which is starting with the common problem. So I kind of touched on it just off the top in my introduction about why I created this webinar in the first place. And then we're going to talk about how we can prevent this from happening. So this is right off the top. We're going to get straight to the point of how we can take measures to prevent this problem from happening, losing access to your properties. We're going to talk about Meta. So specifically Facebook and Instagram, because this is where I see a lot of problems. We're going to get right into Meta Business Suite and business portfolios. That's where things really get complicated. And hopefully I will not, overwhelm you too much, but we will talk about reclaiming a Facebook page. There are steps you can take if you've lost access. And then number six is setting it up from the beginning. Basically like if all else fails and you just have to start new, here's how you need to do it. And again, that's for Instagram, Facebook and Instagram together through Meta Business Suite. And then number 7, we're going to take a quick, we're going to talk about cybersecurity just a little bit in especially in Facebook, and how we can protect ourselves from certain type of attack that's very common there. Instagram, we're going to talk about protocols for sharing access and managing your Instagram accounts, and then best practices for other platforms. Because at that point, we've kind of covered off a lot of different things, so we will touch on the rest of them at that point, and hopefully you'll kind of get the process and see, oh yeah, it is pretty simple how to protect ourselves from losing access to these platforms. And then finally, we're going to talk about Google Nonprofits. So this is a program from Google. I'll get into it more, but it's really cool because you get free workspace account, an ad account with up to $10,000 in search ads per month for your charity. So stick around till the end when we talk about that, because if you are a charitable organization, you should be in this program. There's no reason not to, other than you don't qualify, but we'll go over the qualifications, the eligibility. And like I said, it's actually a really fantastic program that I recommend to any charity. And one of the main reasons too is that workspace account can help with the access and delegation of email accounts, which is a big part of what we're talking about today, is delegating access and setting up, admins and permissions for all the right users. So first things first, the common problem. This is exactly what I've seen so many times. I've seen it with businesses too, but specifically more so with charities. And I think it's just because, there tends to be a lot of turnover. There's a lot of volunteers that come in and set things up, and then they go away, and that seems to make this a more common problem within charities than it does with businesses. But essentially what I see is one person has set up a new property, whether that's a Facebook page, an Instagram account, whatever. They sometimes they'll write that login down in a notebook. Then that person goes away, and the property is now inaccessible. So the reason why it's inaccessible is there's a couple of reasons for that. Maybe number one, no one can find that notebook with the username and password. Maybe the password was changed or updated, and the notebook was never updated, so the password doesn't work anymore. And usually, like, you don't have your password. That's not the end of the world, because you can reset it. But here's where a lot of people get caught up, or just you hit a roadblock, which is two-factor authentication. And when that one person has set something up using, with two-factor authentication, meaning you will have to get a code sent to your phone or email in order to approve this request to change your password, if that phone or email doesn't is not within the organization, then you're really out of luck, right? So, and it doesn't even actually necessarily need to be two-factor authentication. I mean, if you're trying to reset a password and it's sending a request to the email address that set that account up, if that's not accessible to you, again, you're out of luck, and it's really unfortunate. And this is that really the main problem that we're seeing, and what I'm hoping to help you avoid today is to not let this happen, essentially. So here's how we can prevent this from happening. Then there's a couple of things. So number one is multiple admins. So not just one person. And the key question you need to ask is, who should be top level admins? Right? Is it executive directors? Is it board members? Is it office managers? Whoever that is, that is someone who hopefully is not going away anytime soon, who has the competency to maintain or manage that access and delegate access to other people. We need to establish that and put that into place. And then with the admins too, I mean, you can set various levels of permissions. And so this should be all part of that discussion of, who needs access to this property and what level of permissions do they need. But the key thing is, if you have two admins, at least, then if one of them goes away, the other one can still have access, hopefully, as long as we take some other precautions, of course, that we're going to talk about. But number two, in preventing this main problem from happening, is the use of a password vault. So password vault is essentially a website that will house all of your passwords for you. It's pretty simple. One of the things, to make that super easy, efficient for people, is that you can install what's called a browser plugin. So that, for me, for example, it's like I use Zoho Vault. I've used Norton LifeLock as well. That was sort of my introduction to virus. I always call it a virus vault. It's not a virus vault, it's a password vault. And Norton LifeLock was my introduction because it came with some antivirus software. And I started playing around with that and using it, and it was great. The only reason I switched to Zoho is because Zoho, we've integrated all of our systems into their software, and it just kind of made sense to use their vault, so I could bring in other users and share passwords. And so, just taking a step back, why a password vault is really handy is that I have a plugin installed on my browser. So anytime I hit a login page, I land on a login page. In the fields where I would put my email and password, I see a little Zoho Vault icon. And if I click that, it's going to ask me to first just log into my Zoho Vault. So I just need to remember one password. And then Zoho Vault, because if I've already saved the password for this login page that I'm on, I can just click that login, and it automatically drops in the username, password, logs me in instantly, and it's super convenient. And so if you can understand, it's convenient for a number of reasons. I don't need to remember the passwords. I can actually create, super long, complicated passwords, which are way more secure. And then I can also share those passwords in my account with other users that I've added. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is like, I don't know of any like free. I think LastPass might have a free account. Don't quote me on that, but it is something I think worth paying for. Certainly, it is. It's an incredible security feature that could really save you from losing those passwords and prevent loss of these properties by securing those passwords in a vault and having some really good, strong passwords. And I think that's basically all I want to say about the password vaults, but really great strategy for preventing the loss of those accounts. The third thing is two-factor authentication. So, two-factor authentication is good in terms of security measures and protocols. It is it's a standard, and it is effective. So I'm not trying to say that it's a lot of people complain that it's a hassle and you have to it's extra hoops to jump through. Sure, but it's very effective at keeping you safe from any malicious attacks or anything like that. But here's the key to setting up two-factor authentication for specifically a charitable organization where you have lots of people who might be accessing this account. The key thing is that you need to link it to a company email, so not a personal phone number or email address, not a personal email address, because again, if someone else set up a property and I'm trying to log in and it's not letting me, or it's asking me for two-factor authentication, because oftentimes I'm on a new device, it'll say, great, you've got the username and password, but we need to see a little bit more. We're sending a code to this email address. If I don't have access to that email, I'm not getting into that property. So make sure that it is set up with a company email. You also want to avoid authenticator apps. So authenticator apps are similar in that they are very effective and very secure. However, it creates complications with regards to these types of organizations, because an authenticator app is an app on someone's phone, and essentially the way it works is that similar to two-factor, but instead of like sending a code to that person's phone, I've already set up my authenticator app and I've got it on my phone. So then when I try to log into a property, it'll pop up and say, give us this the code that's in your authenticator app. And when I open my authenticator app, it gives me a 6-digit code, and that changes like every 60 seconds or so. And again, it's very secure, very effective, but not in the situation of a charitable organization where multiple people are trying to manage these properties, because that's gonna just really lock people out pretty quickly. So avoid those and make sure it is linked to a company email. So actually, yeah, just going back to that, like, it should be like an admin at, yourdomain.com or whatever, or maybe it's your info at email address that like maybe multiple people have access to. Again, like spreading that that delegation, that access across multiple people, so that if someone goes away, if things change, that at least any two-factor authentication notifications will go to an email that is still accessible by the organization. So let's talk more specifics in bringing up Facebook and Instagram through Meta. So we really have to talk about the ownership structure of a Facebook page, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up, because it is confusing. It is convoluted. There's a lot of pitfalls. It's a minefield of ways to go wrong and mess up your organizational setup. So we're gonna first talk about, and I apologize if I rant a lot, because I do complain a lot about the way Facebook works. But there's not much we can do about it, and we just sort of have to live with it. But so I'm gonna front load, just talking about the negatives. But we will talk about the, a positive approach, a way of doing it correctly. So hang tight. We will get to that, and try not to get too overwhelmed as we get into this. But again, the ownership structure of a Facebook page is really important to understand, and that is that a Facebook page must have admins, but they must be personal Facebook accounts. So this is really important to note, because I've met with organizations where they might say, we don't quite have access to the Facebook page, but someone gave us the username and password for it. And that scares me, because there is no username and password for your Facebook page. You access it through Facebook, through your own personal account. The reason for that is that Facebook just wants to verify, confirm that you are a real person, and doesn't want bots or anyone fake setting up a page, especially for a charity, right? So that's an important part to note and keep in mind, is that first and foremost, before you even have a page, you do need a Facebook account. And if you don't have a Facebook account, I would still suggest setting one up, because you need it to access your Facebook page. And a lot of people get concerned that if they don't have a Facebook page, they get concerned, they don't want one. But I always need to remind people, no one can see who, public facing, or the general public cannot see who is an admin on this page. They will not see who is controlling this page, who has any access to it, or who's making posts, any of that stuff. It's all in the background. So you can create a Facebook page or a Facebook profile for yourself that's completely anonymous, but you do need it to access your Facebook page. So once we've created our Facebook page, there is sort of the next layer of there's a next layer of ownership that's really important to talk about, because it's where things do get complicated. And that is the business portfolios, which are found within Business Suite. They used to call them a business account. Now they're called a business portfolio. So this is a top-level admin that controls additional assets such as ad accounts, commerce accounts, user permissions, all kinds of things. And it's really important to understand this, because your Facebook page is probably owned by a business portfolio, whether you know it or not. And many people don't actually know if or um, or that their Facebook page is owned by a business portfolio. Another problem is that many people don't know who actually owns that business portfolio. And I mean, so I'll share one story, which was that, and this is, just to illustrate like how easily this can get taken right out of your hands. Your Facebook page can get just like taken by someone else really easily. And again, a lot of times it's not malicious. It's just like user error. And so I've made this mistake even, and I had to learn from this mistake, which was a business owner had made me an admin of their Facebook page because we were helping with the social media management. And I thought that I would be helping ourselves out and helping them out by bringing their page into my business portfolio, because that would allow me to create an ad account and connect domains and hook up all these tools, the pixel and all that stuff. What I didn't realize at the time was, because this was quite a few years ago, was that by bringing their page into my business account, I now owned their Facebook page. I was a top level admin for that. And what's scary about that is that the rightful business owner was not notified by Facebook. They were not given any indication. They didn't have to verify or sign off on anything. Because I was already an admin, I was just allowed to take it and own it. And that's what's happening, or has happened, I think, to a lot of other charities, is that someone's come along and thought they're helping out by bringing it into their business portfolio, but this is a big problem. And so, I mean, number 3, most people have never even explored the business portfolio or even met a business suite much. So that's something that you need to do. We're going to talk a little bit about getting into there and seeing how things are set up. But so the 4th point is actually kind of scary too, which is that business portfolios are now created automatically for new pages. So another example, something that had just happened recently, which was, I thought I had learned from my mistake in the past with that other company, but there was another company just recently that we were setting up a new Facebook page for them. So I sat down with an office manager to create their page and get everything set up. And what we wanted to do was create the page, and then we were going to create the business portfolio and make sure that the page was brought into the business portfolio. And then we would bring the business owner into that business portfolio so that he would maintain top level ownership, even if that employee went away. But what happened was, when the employee created the page, a business portfolio was created automatically, and she was the owner of that, which then made it extra complicated to sort of hand that back over to the business owner and make sure that he was the top level admin and not her. So all that to say, I mean, it does get a little bit convoluted and can be really easy to mess up. But we're going to talk about and share, ways that you can avoid those problems. And I always forget I have this slide because I just talked about that. The big problem is that if that office manager created the Facebook page, they maintain top level ownership, right? So just reiterating that, you want to avoid that. So taking a step back a second, like, here is how you can find out if your Facebook page is owned by a business portfolio or a business account. So I've got this link here. Essentially, you just go into your facebook.com, navigate to your page, go to your settings. There's a profile access tab there in the settings, and here's where you would also delegate access. So interestingly enough, I don't actually have any facebook.com admins of my page. I've delegated all the access within Meta Business Suite. But down at the bottom here, you will see business portfolio. So basically, my page, BFresh Marketing Group, is owned by the Get Digital Support business portfolio. So if your Facebook page is owned by a business portfolio and you don't have access, or the person who is at the top who should have access does not, that's a bit of a problem. Now, what do we do about that? If that business portfolio is showing up on that list, and you don't know who owns it, you don't have access to it, there are three dots to the far right of that. So same section here. They'll be on the far right of that page across from the business portfolio. So they don't make it easy to find. This is, again, real problem with Facebook. They're just like, they don't make it easy. Because you click those three dots and there's only one option, and that is to remove from business portfolio. So if you don't have access to that business portfolio and you want to try and reclaim your Facebook page into your own business portfolio, you have to click those three dots and try and remove from business portfolio. But here's where things can go wrong. Going back to our conversation about two-factor authentication, or even just, setting up accounts under different, using different contact information, clicking on that button will send an email to the admin of that business portfolio. Who is that? We will never know. We don't even get an indication of what that email address is, unless, basically, this is the only thing you can do to reclaim your Facebook page from a business portfolio that does not, that you don't have access to. So, if you click that button and no one within your organization gets that email, there's not much you can do about it, unfortunately. Again, I've run into this situation with an organization once where it was just that, there was a business account created, a business portfolio. We wanted access to be able to create an ad account and to be able to add ourselves as users on that ad account, as managers of that ad account. And so no one in their organization had access to that business portfolio. We tried clicking this button and then even going around to everyone saying, hey, did you get an email? Did you get an email? Like, did anyone get an email from Facebook about this? And the answer was no, unfortunately. We never were able to track down who owned that. And to this day, that Facebook page is owned by a business portfolio that someone else owns, and it's out of their hands, unfortunately. And because Facebook is no help with regards to support and rectifying any of these situations. So that's why setting all these things up beforehand correctly is so vitally important, because getting it back is not always, it's a very low success rate, unfortunately. So basically, if I were to do it, knowing everything I know, here is exactly how I would set up a Facebook page for a charity right from the start. And that is, have your executive director or whoever is at the top, whoever will be that top level admin or should be, have them set up the Facebook page. And just, to maybe ease any worry you might have, setting up a Facebook page takes 2 seconds. You click a button. All you even really need to put in is the name of the Facebook page, maybe a description, maybe not. I think all you need to do really is name it, and then you can come back later to fill all the rest in. But as long as you just give it a name and move on, you can do all of this really quickly. Once you've set up the Facebook page, immediately go over to Meta Business Suite. If a business portfolio was not created, which again should be automatic now, I believe, but if it wasn't, make sure you create a business portfolio. Then navigate to your business settings, and here's a link to that. So it's business.facebook.com/settings, and essentially, like, that's the place where that top level admin should really be comfortable with getting to know this place, these settings, because that's where we can add other people, we can add other assets like Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. Like, if you have multiples, you can put it all under this one business account. So within those settings, down at the very bottom of the menu on the left-hand side, you're going to find business info. So you want to go to that business info section. Ensure that all of your information is filled out in that section. So it just asks for your legal business name, your address, and most importantly, email address. And so that is where you want to add a work email to that account and then verify it. So once you punch in your email address, again, keep it like an admin at yourdomain.com or info, so that, other people might be able to access that if you go away, you being the top level admin. Put that in, verify it there, because they'll send you an email. You just have to go back to your email, click the verification button, and then you're good to go. Then finally, again, within that settings area, add different people. So start adding other board members, other office administrators, people who need access to be able to post to your Facebook page. And again, going back to that image you saw of my own Facebook page, where I said, we usually see different admins there in that section of Facebook. I didn't have any, because this here is where I've added all of my people and given them access to various properties, different pages and ad accounts and whatever they need access to. I will say it is it's a little convoluted, because like even yourself, even when you yourself as the top level admin set all this up, you still actually need to add yourself and give yourself permission to the different properties. So it's a little annoying, but at least it's a good exercise to know how to do it for other people within your organization, and sort of fine tune that access level, the permissions that they might need. And and then, yeah, like moving forward, um, I would say, you want to manage everything from comments, messages, posts, and more from your Meta Business Suite. Because again, the more you know, and use that tool, the better you are. Just in terms of, yeah, like getting to know the layout of it, adding people, adding different assets. It's just better for you, better for your organization. And I will say too, Meta Business Suite for scheduling posts and for managing your comments, it's actually pretty effective. So I highly recommend that. As a management tool moving forward. So that's how you can set it all up in one go. And all this probably, I could do it in 15 minutes max. Now, just a quick note, because we're still in the, Meta Business Suite sort of thought process. And I did talk about, managing your properties, like so, and even your inbox comments and your messages that you might get. I wanted to mention about, the importance of cybersecurity here, because there is a really, really common threat, a common scam that happens on Facebook pages. And that is people sending these messages. So they're either exactly like this or very similar, but basically, saying that your page has been disabled or it's violated the terms of service, it's scheduled for deletion. They make all these kinds of threats, or just kind of scare you by saying, you've done something wrong and now your page is going to be deleted. And then there's a link in it, and you never ever want to click that link. So, the point I want to make here is that, what's really important is educating your staff on, anyone who is going to be accessing the Facebook page. Be aware of these, because they're just scams. And I think, when you actually look at those from your Meta Business Suite, from the inbox, it's pretty easy to notice that, like, usually it's just sent from like a regular user. It'll have someone's name on it. Maybe they had their account hacked or something. I don't know. Or it's just a fake account. But it's like, it doesn't always show up as a Facebook user. But essentially, like, it's pretty clear if you think about it, like that's just some person who sent you this threatening message, hoping that you would think it was from Meta, right? And because they sign off Meta security team, like, we can put two and two together here. That's not who you are. But I think, why these are effective as a scam is, I shouldn't say that. Why they actually work. Because I've ran into clients sending me emails to say, this looks legit. Is it a scam? And that's because when someone will send you a message on Facebook to your page, you will get, or the admin will get, a notification. And that comes from Facebook, right? So when you get an email from Facebook with this message, you don't necessarily notice that it's from some random user. And that's where, it looks scary, it looks real, and you might click on the link. So again, make sure your staff, everyone knows about these phishing scams, because you definitely don't want to click those links. That's where you can really find yourself in some trouble. That's all I have to say about that. So don't click the links. Let everyone know it's a very common scam. Just avoid those messages, delete them, whatever you need to do. So real quickly, let's talk about Instagram, because there's not much to mention, beyond what we just talked about with that Meta Business Suite. But just to reiterate that, again, managing from your Meta Business Suite as much as possible is a great strategy. Because again, you can delegate the access needed to whoever should be making the posts or managing the comments or inbox messages. There are instances, though, where you can and should share the username and password for your Instagram account with anyone who needs it. That's because there's certain features that you don't get from Meta Business Suite when you're making posts. So sometimes it's easier to post right from the app on your phone. As well as, doing community engagement, liking other posts, commenting, being social on social media, you really can't do from Meta Business Suite. So in those cases, there are people who should have that access. And again, I would say use a password vault for sharing that. That's the safest way to do it. And then finally, let's talk about some, just other platforms that you might have: YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Business Profile. We see a lot of these getting mismanaged, access is lost. And here's some best practices. So for a lot of Google properties, because these are really common, of course, again, your YouTube account, your Google Business Profile, analytics, Search Console, all those tools. The best thing you can do is use the same Google login, same Google account to set up all of those properties. And then again, you can delegate access. So share that full admin access with multiple team members. And number 3, if multiple users are not allowed, because sometimes that'll be like a paid feature, or you have to upgrade to add more team members. The best thing to do is just share that password through a password vault. So again, keeping that very secure, and not on a notebook. That is, as much as a notebook can be really secure, it's because it's not on the internet. It's so easy to lose it. It's so easy to forget to update it. It's just not as efficient as a password vault. And then number 4, and this could be, for all of your properties, is to assign a key master. So someone in your organization whose job it is, or part of their job is to just implement these strategies. Make sure people are on board with them. Go through all of your accounts and make sure that all the right people have the right access, and that all of your passwords and things are secure, and held maybe in a virus or a password vault somewhere that will be accessible if people start leaving. That way, if we've got all of these different practices in place, people leaving should not be a problem. Unless the whole thing just gets turned over, then you've got other problems, I guess. But lastly, let's talk about the Google Nonprofits program. Because again, as I said off the top, this is an amazing program that any charity should be applying for if you have not already. And why that is: for one, you get a free Google Workspace account. So Google Workspace account is essentially you get your emails that can be your name at yourdomain.com. So it's no more of that at gmail.com. It's very professional looking, and best of all, it's going to give admin management of all of the email addresses, right? Because again, I've seen countless times where people have used their personal Gmail accounts for setting up Google business profiles and this and that and the other thing. And it's like, if you can have like one central kind of hub where you create, new user comes in or new employee comes in, you can create an email address for them, and then the admins maintain ownership of that email account and can turn it off at any moment. They can give permissions to other things at any time. And so like that is why this is like such a, it's part of the reason why the Google Nonprofits program is amazing, but it's also why this is part of this overall conversation, because it can really help, help an organization to maintain access to your email accounts. Because again, those are a big part of the security and access that we're granting to all these different properties. Number two is pretty incredible as well, is an ad grant. So Google Ads, you will get a grant of up to $10,000 per month in advertising, in, I should say, search advertising. Now, yes, it's amazing. Yes, it's awesome. Don't get too excited. You don't get a check for $10,000 or anything like that. But you get an ad account set up for the organization that allows you to basically have, you can run search ads for your charitable organization, for your events, for whatever for any of your operations, with basically an unlimited budget. And I will say, it's actually really difficult, if not impossible, for like a local charity to even come close to reaching $10,000 per month in search ad spending. Because the way the search ads work, right? If people aren't searching for it, then you're just not going to be able to spend the money, right? You're not going to get the clicks that will rack up that dollar amount. But at the same time, like, it's pretty much unlimited budget for, like I said, a local charity, even a national charity. We have one client, because we do actually like manage these ad accounts for charities. We have one client that's a Canadian charity. And I think the most we've ever hit is like $1,500 in search ads. And that's during like their peak season, where people from all over are searching for their charity and their services and things like that. So just, keep that in mind. Don't get terribly too excited, but it is actually still pretty cool that you get this ad account. And then of course there's more information at this link provided, google.com/nonprofits. And then if you're wondering about eligibility, here's what they say. So you must be registered as a charitable organization, and must also be verified as a nonprofit organization by Google for nonprofits, validation partner called Percent. It used to be, what was it, Tech Soup, something like that in Canada. So I'm not sure if they still use them or if they've switched to this Percent only, but essentially you just need to jump through some hoops in verifying your charitable status. And there's more information at this link about getting verified by Percent, what's involved in that. Number 3, meet the requirements in your own country, which is in Canada just that you are a charity as defined by CRA, and then agree to the Google Nonprofits additional terms of service. And so, like I said, if you are a charity, there's a very good likelihood that you would qualify for this. So definitely get on it. There's really no reason. There's a ton of benefits to it. Even just, again, the Google Workspace account, the ad account, it's pretty incredible. There's other benefits as well. And they were linked on that other page too. One thing important to note with regards to eligibility is that you're not eligible if you are a governmental entity or organization, if you are a hospital or healthcare organization. However, charitable arms or foundations associated with healthcare organizations are eligible. So keep that in mind. And then schools and academic institutions or universities are not eligible. Although, again, the philanthropic arm of educational organizations are eligible. But if you are a school or educational institute, they do have a program specifically for those industries, so check that out instead. And that is our webinar on Cyber Savvy Charities for Cyber Savvy Charities. So I hope that this was helpful, because again, my hope is that I never have to help another charity to, set up a page or try and reclaim a Facebook page that they've lost access to, because it's such a time suck. It's such a difficult thing, and like I said, the success rate can be pretty low. So hopefully you can take these steps to protect yourself, protect your organization, and all of your properties, so that you can continue the amazing work that you do, and we'll continue doing the amazing work we do with more webinars. So check those out at getdigitalsupport.ca. We've got more coming up, and you can, like I said, also sign up for that free digital audit and ask us about Google Ad Grant Management, because like I said, we do that for charities, as well as all kinds of marketing supports. If you need websites, if you need video, we've done a ton of video work for charities. So feel free to reach out and ask us about those products, packages, services that we offer. We'd be happy to help you out. So again, hope you found this helpful, and we will see you at the next webinar, hopefully. Bye for now.